Hey guys, it's Autumn Whittet here, and I am making the video by myself today. We'll make one later on when Ross gets back with both of us, but I wanted to go ahead and just put mine out because I want to say a couple of things about my devotional and what I read today. So, what I'm going to be talking about today is beliefs, and really just how we can change our beliefs and how it's our beliefs that really determine the outcomes that we bring about into our life. So what I mean by this is whatever you choose to believe is going to be your reality, because you're seeing things from a standpoint to where whatever it is that you're believing is true to you and it's real to you no matter what, whether it's real to anybody else or not. And I think that I feel like there's a lot of people who don't realize the power that our beliefs hold and the power that our thoughts hold. But really, it makes sense if you stop to think about the things that you think about the most, the things that you're worried about all the time, or the things that you just expect to happen are usually what ends up happening. And I know, especially for females, I mean, if you're anything like me, you might find yourself in a situation where something happens and you're like, oh my gosh, I knew that was going to happen. Like, I could just feel it. I knew that was going to happen. And I really truly believe that whatever we expect and whatever we just feel is going to happen is what happens. And I also think that we can change what we are expecting by changing our thoughts, and our thoughts will in turn change our beliefs. So a belief is basically just an idea, or an idea basically that you have chosen to adopt and buy into, and that you believe is real to you, that you know to be real and true. And so because of that, it's something that you can change if you want to, or maybe if you need to change it. And so what I'm talking about here is maybe you look in the mirror and you think, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly, or I'm so fat. And just because that's what you see when you look at yourself, that might not be what everyone else sees. And I think it's important to just really figure out how you can change your thoughts about yourself and change your beliefs if you have negative beliefs like that. Because if you're in a relationship and I don't know, I do know that all of us girls have done it at some point, maybe some more than others, but I know for myself there have been times where I just convinced myself that my partner was doing something that I didn't want them to be doing, and maybe at the time when I initially believed that this was going on, it wasn't, but because I chose to stick with that belief and I chose to think about that one thing all the time, I actually ended up bringing that into the relationship, and that thing that I was so afraid of happening that I didn't want to happen is what happened. And this happens all the time in every different kind of situation. But the truth is that we have the choice and we have the power to change those beliefs. We don't have to believe that way. We don't have to always just assume the worst and expect the worst things to happen. But I know that it can be hard when you've been conditioned a certain way your whole life. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately all up to you. You have the power to make the changes. No one else can do it for you, so you can either choose to stay where you're at, and that's where you'll be, or you can choose to make changes. And I think that there is no such thing as an overnight success. Nothing happens overnight, but you can change the direction that you're going overnight. You can change the little small daily activities that you do, and it can be just by, maybe you don't really do any kind of personal development, and so that is one thing that I would suggest to everybody that's kind of new to all of everything I'm talking about right now. But just starting with some personal development, and that can mean reading a book, reading some kind of positive personal development book, or listening to an audio, or just listening to positive music or something. Just finding a way to grow and develop your mindset every day. And by doing that, your thoughts are eventually going to change, and that in turn is going to change your beliefs. And I'm living proof of that, because once I started doing personal development consistently, everything started to change in the way that I viewed things, the way that I viewed other people. Little petty things that used to get to me, they don't get to me anymore. And one example I can think of right now is like last year in the business that I was in, I just let the smallest little things get me down. And like the stupidest little things that you could ever possibly imagine really would just like completely tear me apart. And when I look back on that, I can see how much I've grown just from doing all this personal development and changing the people that I hang out with and the things that I allow myself to listen to or look up and all that kind of stuff. I've just changed a lot because now that those things that used to bother me, they don't even faze me anymore because I finally realized there's no value in associating with those kinds of things or those kinds of thoughts or whatever. And it was when I finally realized that nobody else had the power to make me feel any way without me allowing it first. That's when I finally felt like I had control. And so this can be relatable in relationships because I think a lot of times when we get to a certain point in our relationship, when we're tired of the same thing happening over and over, or maybe you're told all the time that things are going to be different and then they never change. And I think that we have to first start with ourselves. So if we're experiencing issues in our relationship, the first thing you have to do is look at yourself and ask, what am I doing? What seeds am I sowing to produce the outcomes that I want? And if at that point, if I'm making changes in myself and I'm taking care of me first, and the rest isn't happening after so long, then I know I can make the right decision for myself, and I can either stay in this relationship or get out of this relationship, whatever's going to benefit me the most. And so I just really wanted to get that out there today. The chapter in Kingdom Woman that I read is about hope, and it was about just Jesus knowing exactly what you're going through right now and where you're at, and that, remember, it's just a season, and that everything that's going on and that's happening, no matter how good or how bad, is all a part of a bigger picture that we don't always see. And so I just want everyone to keep that in mind today. There's a lot of negativity out there today, a lot of sadness, and my prayers, I've been praying all night long for the officers that were hurt, and for all the other victims around the world that are feeling or that are being mistreated by certain officers or whatever. I'm praying for the world right now because it's truly sad, and it's I just hate to see this continue to happen, but until we can all decide to stand together and just love one another and focus on love instead of hate, nothing is going to change. And so just be very mindful about the words that you put out there and the things that you put out into the universe, because as I talked about yesterday, whatever seed you're sowing is what you're going to harvest. And so we have enough negativity, so I would just encourage everyone to be positive and be loving and love people. It doesn't matter what color their skin is or what they said or who they think they are. Just love them. It doesn't matter. We have to love each other. That's the only way things are going to get better. So with that being said, I hope that this was helpful. I'm sorry Ross isn't here, but we will make a video later today when he gets back. And yeah, that's all I got. So I hope everyone has a great day, and we will talk soon.